So without further ado, um, we can see Philip there, and it gives me immense pleasure to introduce tonight's special guest. As I am sure most of you already know, Philip, or Phil, as we're allowed to call him, is a professional golfer from Wales who now plays on the European Seniors Tour, or the Legends Tour, as it is now known. On the main European tour, Phil won 3 events between 1994 and 2003 and played in the 2002 Ryder Cup. Phil has represented his country 9 times in the World Cup. He has won 2 events since he switched to the Legends Tour in 2017 and 2019. Hello, Phil, and thank you so much. It's a real treat to have you with us this evening. I know our members have really been looking forward to it. And so, if I may, I think it's always a nice way to go right back to the beginning and to ask you how it all started as a junior, how the talent was nurtured, how you became a professional golfer. Did you have to grind away in Q school? You know, how did it work back in those days?
Yeah, what was that? Probably 12 years old. My father and 2 brothers played at the local club about a 30-minute walk away. They used to go without me on the weekend, which I hated, and I'd be swinging in the garden waiting for my time. And eventually I joined the club at about 12 years old. Then both brothers stopped playing. I played at a Valleys club, a place called Pontypridd. Lovely golf club, lovely members. Kind of a good first team we had at the club, and some good amateur golfers there, which kind of helped me a lot. Did that until I represented Wales, represented Great Britain juniors, youths. Didn't manage to make the Walker Cup, which was a disappointment. But when I was 23, then decided to go to the qualifying school. It was time. Needed to make some money at some point. So one of the members at the club, which was very kindly, offered to pay for me to go to the qualifying school. Unfortunately, I didn't make the top 50 the first time that I went, but I finished 83rd, I think I finished, which allowed me to play 6 tour events and maybe 6 tournaments on the Challenge Tour as well, but I'd improved an awful lot during that year. So a year on, I went back to the qualifying school, finished 2nd at that qualifying school. I probably didn't look back. I think I spent the next 24 years on the tour without coming off.
And who were the major influences as you were transitioning from a good amateur into the professional game?
A biggest influence all over would have been the club professional at our golf club. From the time that I started, I loved practicing, and it's my kind of sport because I'm quite happy to be on my own. I like practicing, and he kind of took me under his wing, would give me lessons, would tell me what I needed to do, would play golf with me, would take me to the British Open every year, which was a great thing to do. And he was the biggest influence. And I only told him a couple of years ago, actually, and he's moved to Germany, how much of an influence he was. Actually, it was really good of him.
And who were your peers who were coming through at the same time as you back in the early 90s?
Yeah, probably my best friend. His name's Stephen Dodd. He's won the World Cup of Golf. He's going to be with us in July at Formby for the Stay Show PGA. It's quite strange how we met as 16-year-olds in a team match. We've gone all the way through, and we're still together as 54-year-old senior members. It's quite funny how we're still together.
And as I mentioned in the introduction, you won 3 European Tour events, 2 of which were in Portugal. So Portugal's a happy hunting ground.
Yeah, definitely. 2 different venues, but I couldn't explain why. I think maybe if you've won the tournament the year before, you're going back with thoughts of good confidence, thoughts of what's happened before. But it's strange, there were 2 different venues, 2 completely different types of golf courses. But I do like Portugal.
It must be the sun. What's your lowest tournament round?
The lowest one I've had, I remember shooting 63 at the Lankham Trophy. When would that have been? That would have been about 2000. And luckily that week, there was a prize of a Rolex Daytona for the low round of the week, which which I had, which was very nice, very nice gift.
And you also went on to win the European Open in 2003. Outside of the tournament wins, what's your greatest performance, or the best tournament where you didn't win, but you felt you were in with a shot?
I think probably two. I finished. I think probably two of them. One was the World Tour event. We played a World Tour event in Akron, Ohio, the Bridgestone. All the top 50 players in the world play. I finished runner-up to Tiger Woods, which is and he did win by a lot of shots. But I think that was 2000. He was in his prime. I never had a chance to win, but that was with all the best players in the world, that was probably my best ever result. But probably a big satisfaction for me was probably winning the European Open. I'd won a couple of Portuguese Opens with reasonable fields, but the European Open, all the best players from Europe play, and I led from start to finish. So I think that probably getting that done with the best players in Europe was a really nice thing to do.
And wasn't Retief Goosen a runner-up when you won one of the Portuguese?
Yeah, that was the first one I won. He was runner-up. I played with him in the last group. I played with Angel Cabrera in the last group for the K Club, who was won 2 Masters, or not, a US Open and a Masters, sorry. And I remember I was leading the European Open that I won by 3. And within about 3 holes, Darren Clarke had just teed off and he was level. So it was nice to take out some of the best players.
Absolutely. Nerves. I get nervous teeing it up on a medal. I can only imagine what it's like in the Ryder Cup, which we'll talk about more later, or you're teeing off in the final group on a Sunday. Is nerves difficult for you? If so, how those 6-foot putts to win a tournament? How do you deal with nerves?
Do you know it is? I do feel very nervous. I get very juiced up. My adrenaline's going, heart rate's going. If I'm leading a tournament, I don't sleep well. Breakfast tastes awful. So I feel all the same unpleasant feelings. But I think I probably with experience and with maybe some success in those situations, although I feel like that, I feel like I know I can deal with it. It doesn't really unsettle me that I'm nervous, because I know I feel nervous. Everybody feels nervous, and I know I can manage it. It's still not easy, because it's never very pleasant. You eat your breakfast and the toast tastes like cardboard and you can barely eat. But I think it's something that I know if I want to do well and win something, I have to accept that's the way that it feels. But I use a couple of tactics to help myself. Probably the best one that I found is I fake it. So what I tend to do when I'm getting nervous, I'll get quick, and I kind of get quite emotional with what I try and do. So if I'm in contention to win, I have a thing where I kind of fake as if I'm confident and fake that I'm calm, and I do find that helps me quite a lot. So you look at me, think, oh my God, look how calm and confident he looks, but underneath I'm pedaling like a duck.
I can imagine. You must have played hundreds and hundreds of golf courses throughout your career. Is the one that stands out the favourite course, whether it's privately or on tour?
The one for me, it was oddly on this week, just gone, Pebble Beach. I played there 3 times. I think just there's certain parts of the course which you never see anywhere else. I always love going to St Andrews. That's a favourite as well. And I played Augusta, and I've only played 1 tournament there. So I'd love to, probably a mixture of all those 3.
And what about courses you haven't played that's top of your bucket list?
Well, top of my bucket list is Formby.
Good answer.
I'm sure the members will like that. No, I'm looking forward to playing Formby. I'm looking forward to going. I'm probably going to end up going back to a lot of venues. I want to go back to Portrush. I think Ireland is a great place. I think Old Head is a course that I haven't played in Ireland. I think when maybe another 10 years, my senior tour career will be over, I still love playing. I still want to be going on trips with the boys. Ireland's definitely a favourite of mine. and maybe a little bit of Scotland where I can get some of the boys. Maybe my son will come with me, and we still do nice trips to play.
And do you get away with the boys now whilst you're still on tour?
Not so much. It seems I feel that I'm really busy because either I'm busy. My son's a full-time golfer, so I'm busy, I'm caddying for him or playing with him. So, and I've got a daughter, 14-year-old daughter, who's 15 tomorrow. Got to remember that. So, I'm also my wife. I'm busy, so I don't really get. It's difficult to say to the wife, "Oh, I'm going to go on a 3 or 4 day golf trip with the boys." I think she won't take kindly, but I think down the road, I'm looking forward to adding that to my list.
So you've played some fantastic courses. Are there any holes that stand out as in the memory that you just want to play again?
18th at Pebble Beach, I want to play again. I can't remember the whole. Probably one of my favorite. Do you know what I tend to like? I think like I'm a senior golfer, so I'm not a modern young golfer who hits the ball miles. So I like par threes that require more skill and more, rather than just a 220 yard bash with a 3-iron into the middle of the green. I like I think it's the 7th at Troon. I'm trying to think of the name of the hole. Some of the members will know. Maybe they can write in what the hole is.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
It's a short par 3 down the hill, no wind. But if you miss the green, it goes off on either side and the back. But it really tests your nerve out rather than just a 220 bash with a 3-iron into the middle of the green. Although I can't hit the ball 220 yards with the 3-irons, in case your members think I can.
Well, I've got a question a bit later that I'll ask now. It's about technology and the game and how it's changed, because you've seen it all. If you were in charge of golf, are there any changes you'd make to the rules or the technology?
I think it's a difficult question, and it's not an easy answer, because the biggest problem is going to be manufacturers. They've spent millions and millions on producing drivers that go a long way. All the tech, there's massive technology goes into that, and I think that helps club golfers. I think probably if I had to do something, I would probably say they have to really make sure from this day onwards that driver can't be improved from this day onwards. So they can't make it longer, they can't make the face any springier, they can't make it any bigger, they can't do any more to what we've already got, and we probably leave it as we are today. But another 20 years, there's going to be another version of Bryson DeChambeau who's even bigger, and humans seem to have got bigger in the last 20 years. Another 20 years on, they'll get even bigger, and they start to make the golf courses obsolete, which I think is the problem. So I think that the lawmakers, make sure we don't move forward from today would be my best. Or make sure they don't, because they sometimes make the driver bigger, lighter. Just make sure, or longer. Don't let Bryson DeChambeau have his 48-inch driver. Make sure it's stuck at 45.
And can you imagine a day, or would you agree with a rule change that made the rules different or the technology different for the professionals compared to the amateur or the club golfer?
I think it may be a solution to it. It may be a good solution to it, but I know this is probably from personal preference. What I don't want to deal with is I like to come and play with members of the club. So say you change the ball, or the driver, probably the ball, definitely. You could probably easily do something to the ball, make it heavier or bigger, that would take 20 yards off, say, my drive. But that's going to affect the club golfer as well. So I don't think it works for them. So what I don't want to happen is I got to use a particular ball to play with my friends at home, and then I got to use a different ball to play tournaments, because the 20 yards would make it really bizarre. So I think that would be a very difficult thing to do. Or you could do it, but personally, it would be inconvenient.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm going to change angle slightly. You are a big Warrington Wolves rugby league fan. So what I want to ask is how a man from South Wales, where rugby union is a religion, how you A, got into rugby league, and B, why Warrington Wolves?
Why what? I think when the early '90s, I think what happened, we had a number of players, likes of rugby union players, Jonathan Davis, Jonathan Devereux, Alan Bateman, Scott Quinnell. We had a kind of an exodus going from rugby union to rugby league early '90s. That kind of probably gave me my first bit of interest. And then the Rugby World Cup was in Wales in 1996, and the Welsh squad were together. Some of them wanted to play golf, so I went and played golf with some of them. Kind of got a contact, and the manager then, his name was Mike Nicholas. He used to play rugby league. He's a Welsh lad. He moved to Warrington to play rugby league. He was the manager. That basically got me into Warrington Wolves, and I've even been to Wilderspool to watch them play. I used to always go to the grand final in Old Trafford. I probably had a passion for rugby league for 30 years probably now.
Well, Jonathan Davis is certainly a legend. I think he played at Widnes and Warrington.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
So I can see how a Welshman would follow the top players. Yeah.
And I'm a Liverpool football supporter, so I've got.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to for me. Yeah.
Oh well, I never knew that.
So we're going to be quite close. I think I'll move up.
Well, it was a good win the other night, wasn't it?
Oh, thank God for that. Yeah, let's hope they win the derby on the weekend.
I better move on because we've got a lot of Evertonian fans as members.
Okay.
So my phone will be going ballistic. Move on.
Okay.
Next question. Is there a single shot in your career that stands out above all others?
Probably the final putt to win my singles match at the Ryder Cup would definitely be a putt to stand out. Because probably I think you played it earlier. I think I probably surprised myself that it actually went in. And then if you're on that green with thousands of people going crazy because it's gone in, my reaction was probably a little over the top. But I mean, that's the emotion of when you've got a crowd, and all my emotion came out, and the relief, I think, was quite incredible.
Well, we've got a little bit of video footage coming up in a little while, so we might see some of that emotion. Sure. What was I going to ask next? Oh, yeah, so that was your favourite ever shot. Every golfer has their strengths and the areas of the game they need to work hardest on. What are your strengths, and where do you need to work harder?
Yeah, game-wise, my strengths would be very good short game, good putter, great chipper, good short iron player. Probably a straight driver, but a short driver. When I hit my drive, probably only carry 255 yards in the air. Probably a 275, 280 driver. So distance is my problem. Hence why, I couldn't play the regular tour again because I don't hit the ball far enough. I'm hitting too many long shots in. Probably game-wise, that's it. But I'm probably more disciplined than most of our senior tour players. I still love to play. Very committed. I love competing. It's not a chore, practicing, exercising. I'm doing what I love, which I think probably gives me an advantage in that I don't feel like it's work.
Well, absolutely. I mean, passion is the basis of everything, really, isn't it? And if you've got talent and passion, it's the perfect combination. Yeah. What tips do you have for the club golfer? What's the number one tip? What's the
number one tip? I got two, and I'm going to do my best. One simple one. When I play I play a lot of pro-ams, and one simple one, I play a lot of pro-ams with amateurs, and the most obvious thing that I keep seeing is they've never got enough club in their hand to reach. They're picking a club for their absolute perfect hit, perfect timing, perfect everything. Give yourself a little bit of leeway. It's something funny to watch all the time. Because it's not very often you actually hit a good shot. No offense, amateur. Anybody over a 10 handicap, I'm not hitting the ball at the middle of the club perfectly every time. So give yourself a little bit of leeway with your club. It doesn't sound very exciting and really boring, but it's something that I watch and I go, can you just get in that club in here? And you've got no chance to reach it. So if you want to score better, do that. It's a bit boring. But I'm going to give one. I don't know whether how easy it's going to be for me to. I'd rather demonstrate, but what I'm going to do is try and explain it, which will be quite tricky. I think probably everybody would like to hit the ball as far as they can. Nobody wants to give distance away if they don't need to. I know I want to hit as far as I can. And I think the thing that I probably spot with club members, probably this is with the driver, is they hit the driver with the same style that they hit an iron with. Well, an iron, you want to hit down and hit a divot, which is what you need to do. But a driver is very different. What you want to do is hit up on the driver, which gives you, so basically there's a statistics done. This is an extreme statistic. If you hit 5 down with the driver or 5 up on the driver, there's a 25-yard difference between how far the ball eventually goes.
That's 5 degrees.
Well, it ends up as 10 degrees difference, 5 down or 5 up. So if you can at least hit up a little bit on the ball, as much as you can, you've got every chance of making the ball go as far as it can go. I think club members are giving distance away by hitting down. Well, I don't think anybody wants to give any distance away. I can't. I wish I could demonstrate, because it's a great. When I come to Formby, I'll do the demonstration for you guys. That would be the most. It's a tip that's worth having. Let's not. No, you're a club golfer. Nobody wants to give any yardage away. Next time you get on the range, make sure you tee the ball high and try and hit up on the ball a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, and then you'll maximize all the power that you have.
Well, I mean, we're looking forward to welcoming you to Formby, of course, and we've got a very active junior membership. So passing on some of that wisdom to them would be amazing.
Okay.
Ryder Cup. We cannot possibly have an evening with you, Phil, without talking about the Ryder Cup. And amongst your many achievements is being a member of the 2002 winning Ryder Cup team. And I found a short video, which I hope will bring back some memories, and we can chat through some of them in a moment. So I'm going to be very brave and try and share my screen and play a short video. So let's see if this works.
Lee, tell him who I beat. I think that's kind of stayed with me all these years.
From Wales, Phillip Price.
This must go in for Europe.
Curtis has his own way of putting out his 12 guys, and I have my way. We'll only know who was right tomorrow night. If it comes down to the last 2 matches, he might be looking favourite. If it doesn't,
I felt really good, actually, because I played against him and David Toms in the foursomes the day before, and I was playing quite well. We lost, but I felt pretty good about it. I think the course suited me more than him, and I'd played really well in practice, and I thought I had a good chance.
Here's Phillip Price at 16. He's 2 up and he's got a birdie putt. He has putted so well today, but it's down the hill, it's difficult. But he's got the line and he's made a birdie. And Phillip Price puts the pressure on Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson must hold this to keep the game alive.
I was 3 up early on in the match, and I was pretty much hanging on for most of the day from there on. Just relief, the putt's gone in, won my point. Just glad it was over, I think.
They hold it. Europe have won back the Ryder Cup.
I hear this every week at some point. Lee Westwood was announcing all our team, who'd beaten who, and in order that the team would get up on a big table. So it was my turn to get up, so I shouted before I got up. I said, "Lee, tell him who I beat." And I think that's kind of stayed with me all these years.
Wow, I'm sure that brought back some memories. I hope it played.
It does bring it back, I've got to say.
Tell us about the Ryder Cup.
It's a great. It was great. I've got to say. God, what was it? I'll try and be brief with the whole thing. I think, and I made the team in 10th place, and we had a year's delay, and I was really playing badly, which was a shame. The world ranking had plummeted to 124th or something going in, and I was really struggling for that final year. And you're going to the world stage and you're not playing very well, and your confidence is pretty shattered. But oddly, when I did arrive, in fact, I won. I found this very upsetting. Actually, I had one reporter asking me whether I should pull out, which I was quite offended. I said, "I've made the team. I'm playing." Arrived at the Belfry. I think Sam was fantastic. I gotta say, there was not at any point did I not feel like I was wanted in the team, and I really made quite a difference. It just made me realise how important a captain is and team spirit is. I'd never really realised before, but that one brought it home. I was pretty uncomfortable going in. You're thinking, do these people, do they really want me here? Never felt like that from anybody. I think Sam did a fantastic job with me and all us rookies, because some of us weren't playing very well. As soon as I arrived, I felt great. Practiced really well. Couldn't wait to get at it. And then probably, what did we go? We were going into the singles 8-all. America were favourites. So on the Saturday night, the draw's done. So I'm kind of looking for my name in the draw, and I'm going, oh, right, I should be in the middle because I'm a rookie, not going to put a rookie anywhere near the end. So I'm looking at the sheet and I'm going down, I'm going, oh my God, I'm number 11. Well, there's only and I'm going, oh my God, what if it comes down to me? I'm not sure whether I'm equipped for the last two groups of the Ryder Cup. And I thought I'm playing Mickelson, but I didn't really mind the Mickelson bit, because I think I'd said earlier I'd played against him the day before, and I thought, like, I can do this. I was playing nicely. I think the game went my way quite early. I think I was 1 up after 5. He missed a really short putt on 6. E3 putted 7. I'm 3 up, and I just managed to cling on all the way to the end till we got to, I think I held that putt on 16 to win 3 and 2. Knew it was a really important point, because I just felt that way for the day. What did Sam Torrance and Ian Woosnam keep telling me? Don't look at the board. Well, that is so difficult to do. So I didn't look at the board. So when I actually finished, I thought we would have won, but we hadn't quite won the match. We probably needed to wait another hour. But I think the Europe winning the match, I won a nice important point. You just can't believe how good the party was in the evening. We've got some great boys in that team, the likes of Lee Westwood and Darren Clark. They even got Patrick Harrington to drink, which is a miracle. I think we might have got Bernard Langer off his coconut milk, and they had a few of us across to the ballet drinking. So it was a fantastic team, the players, result. Sam Torrance was perfect. It's a great memory for me, and it couldn't have gone any better.
Amazing. I can only imagine. I think you were in good company though with form-wise, because Harrington and Westwood both really slipped down the rankings in the year leading up. So I've got another video clip actually, and it was labelled as the #1 Belfry moment from 2002. So let me just load that onto our screens, and perhaps you could talk us through it. I don't know if this was the 6th hole.
Yeah, this changed the game completely, I think.
So is this? I've paused it. This is on the 6th hole, is it?
Yeah, so I've nearly hit it in the hazard, and I'm standing in it. Mickelson had hit his ball to about 18 inches before I'd hit this shot, so I'm 1 up, and I'm pretty much thinking I'm going to struggle from here. But I managed to hit that shot to, I don't know whether you'll see it, maybe 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, I'm going to play it in a minute. So this is your tee shot that nearly went in the hazard.
Yeah.
We can see there that your feet are below the ball. And can you remember what club you're hitting?
I think I hit a 9-iron from there. I mean, it was a big hooking shot because I couldn't stand properly. I would have been quite happy just to be on the green, but it just happened to go quite close.
All right. Well, I'll play the rest of it. So this is you're 1 up, and this is on the 6th hole.
Yeah.
And then this happens.
You can see how close his ball is there.
And did Phil missed his putt, did he?
Yeah, so I make this, and I really should have given him his putt. He ended up missing it. So I end up winning the hole. I'm expecting to go back to all square, and I end up 2 up. It changed the game completely, I think.
I can imagine. And you stayed 2 up until the 16th, or was there a bit of toing and fro?
A little bit of toing. So he 3-putted the next, then the 7th, so I'm 3 up. But he won 9, I won 10, and then I was clinging on a little bit. We were making birdies. I shot 6 under par for the day, no bogeys. I mean, I played so nicely, and I just managed to kind of keep ahead there.
So that this was just pretending to look calm and confident, and the nerves were.
Well, they were jangling, but like it's like fake it till you make it, I think somebody said. But I do find it helps me.
But yeah, I can imagine the nerves are at their highest at the beginning of a round. Do they normalise and you get into a bit of a rhythm and the nerves completely disappear, or are they always there a little bit?
I'd say it starts off, you're very anxious. I think it does normalise a little bit in the middle, and then it builds a little towards the end when you have a chance to win. So there's maybe a little lull in the middle, but it starts to really build. As you're coming towards the end, especially if you're leading, it really does start to build again.
And you just touched on the team spirit between the Europeans and the Americans, and a lot of is made of it in the media. Is it a real thing? I mean, I certainly imagine that the European team is amazing to be part of, as you alluded to. But is the Americans really that different? Do you think?
Do you know, I do. I really do, because I played the US tour and I played the Champions Tour there, and I'm trying to think. Probably the one big obvious thing that makes it different is, I think with Europe, a lot of guys are traveling from the same airports. We stay in a similar hotel, pretty much a choice of 2 hotels for the week, share courtesy cars, buses. You're always together. Whereas I'd say in America, there's a lot of different hotels. Players got their own car. They're not pushed together that often. So I think it must be very difficult when guys ignore each other all week, and all of a sudden they arrive at the Ryder Cup and they want to be best buddies. I'm not sure whether that works very well. I think it's difficult for them to put that together.
I've just noticed a question pop up, actually, that I'd normally leave to the end, but since we're talking about the Ryder Cup, do you see a seniors Ryder Cup?
No, there is talk about one. I'm not sure whether it'll work. There's talk about one. There is talk about one, but I can't say any more. But I think we've got to hope there's one. But I think it's in the pipeline. But whether they can get it over the line, I don't know. But I really hope something can happen, because it would be fantastic. You still got still great players about. So Bernard Langer still plays great. I mean, Monty still plays great. Jimenez still plays great. It would be fantastic. But whether they can get it done, I don't know.
Well, I mean, we just saw some footage from nearly 20 years ago, and seeing a lot of those players play again in a new format, a new Ryder Cup, Seniors Ryder Cup. I've never even thought about it before. Didn't even know it was a possibility. But wow, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Would be great if they could do something.
So there's some massive names in that 2002 Ryder Cup team. Not only yourself, Phil, of course, but the likes of Clark, Westwood, Woosnam, Langer, Parnevik, and many others, of course. And we all saw the scenes on the balcony after the victory was complete, drinking pints of Guinness. Tell me what the party was like.
I mean, it is pretty incredible. As soon as you finish and everyone we had a great team room where it was just a ginormous room which was a restaurant and a bar. So we could all get in with a balcony, of course. I think probably everybody got back to the team room. The champagne's going, wives are all there. I'm trying to think how many people. Must have been more than 50, 80 people in our room, and nobody wants to go. And we had one American in our team room all night, which was David Duval. Nobody else would come in, which was a bit of a shame. It would have been nice if we could have. When you play, it's all competitive. You want to win, but it would have been nice if we could have had a few in after. But they didn't seem to want. They didn't. I think Jesper Panuck asked who wanted to come in, and it was only David Duval who came in, and he was dancing with all our wives all night.
I've got a final video. I'm sure you've seen this one before. Let me just share my screen once again. I found this and it did tickle me, I have to say.
Tell him who I beat. Tell him who I beat. Belfry 2002. We'd managed to beat the United States, and there were a lot of great performances as a team. One of the best performances was Phillip Price. He managed to beat Phil Mickelson, which I don't think anybody really gave him a chance. And afterwards, I sort of took on the role as cheerleader. All the lads were kind of up in the team room. I remember dragging Jesper Parnevik out the shower. I went into his room and dragged him out the shower because I'd been into the bar, and it was a great atmosphere in the bar at the Belfry, and everybody wanted to just say well done to the team. So I was bringing the team down gradually as the night went on, and eventually got round to Phillip Price, and I was stood on the bar and I was giving him the big build up from Wales, Phillip Price, and he's just stood at the side of the bar tugging on my leg saying, "Tell him who I beat, tell him who I beat." Eventually I got him what I said, and it was a big shock to everybody as well as Phillip Price, the winner over Phil Mickelson, and he got a big round of applause. So I just remember the words "Tell him who I beat, tell him who I beat" echoing in my ears.
And it's something you say that follows you around every week. You're asked about the same story.
I think I'm trying to think how many years I went. 11 years on, I carried on the tour, and I wouldn't think a week went by where somebody wouldn't walk past at some point and make that phrase. I think they would always have my Welsh accent on, "Tell him who I beat," and we'd always have a little giggle, but it seemed to stick. But it was a lovely thing, so I never minded at all.
Fantastic. We're going to move on to some questions from the members shortly.
Okay.
So if there is a question you'd like to ask, please put it into the chat window. And before we do, I think it'd be remiss of me not to talk about the Legends Tour, particularly with the event at Formby later this summer. So you've been playing on the Legends Tour for a few years now. What's it like?
It's a very friendly tour. I think you probably got all the guys are over 50. Obviously, I think we all just about managed to leave our ego at the door. Well, I think when you're young, the testosterone's going, you all think you're cool. It can be quite a hostile place, the regular tours. I think with the senior tour, we're all old friends who've come back together. Everyone's a little more mature and a really friendly tour. Friendliest tour I've ever been anywhere near. I'm sure you guys will notice that when we come up in July. Really friendly. We're still all competitive, want to do well, but I think we're all probably a little bit more relaxed, and probably amongst friends you feel that way anywhere.
And you've had a fair bit of success on the Legends Tour. You won the Order of Merit and took home the John Jacobs Trophy in 2019. What an achievement, firstly, and congratulations. Talk us through that season. The year 2018, I finished runner-up to Paul Broadhurst, which was good. But I played the tour for 24 years, and I finished 8th and 10th in the Order of Merit. So I was never in with a chance of winning any Order of Merit or as an amateur. So I think we've got to the senior tour, and I do have a chance, and especially having finished second in 2018. I think to win, everybody wants to be number one. I know I did. And I was leading the Order of Merit from, I think, July onwards. And it was just something I really wanted to win. And probably quite a relief to get over the line during the last, it went down to the last 9 holes of the last tournament where people could still catch me. So I think I had my son on the bag, my family were with me in Mauritius. It was a relief. I wanted to be, I think we did a video after. I just wanted to be number one. We all want something, and I wanted just to say I was number one for that year. So really proud of that. And you were number one also at the Stayshore Seniors Championship, which you won in 2019. It was cancelled last year because of COVID, which means you come to Formby in July as the defending champion.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah,
it certainly will, and it'd be nice to welcome you, of course. What can Formby expect from the tournament that we're hosting?
It's our biggest tournament other than a major. So it's a 4-day tournament. Probably have a bigger field than normal, I think, because they have some club pros and some qualifying. But I think all the guys will be in a good mood. It's one of our bigger tournaments. Everybody's excited to play. We're all excited to come to Formby. I think you'll, especially during the Pro-Am, you'll get a closer interaction with the players. And obviously we're competing, but we're a lot more relaxed. So I think we're a lot more approachable, and we should all bring a good atmosphere to the golf, to the whole golf club, and to all the spectators, hopefully.
Well, you'll be glad to know the organisation is already in full swing. Hopefully we can welcome patrons or fans to the tournament. Obviously makes a huge difference. And very best of luck in your defence, and hopefully I'll get the chance to meet you in person when you arrive. Final couple of questions from me, and then we'll move on to the many questions that I can see have built up in the chat window. Caddies are a notorious bunch. Are there, or is there, a standout caddy moment for you, Phil?
Caddies. I've had a lot of caddies. I'd probably had one really bizarre one. I think probably nearly came to blows. What was it? Let's think of the scene. So it's probably my 3rd tour event in Spain, and I'm on about the 35th hole. Obviously a cut after 36 holes, and I'm one inside the cut, and I'm just new onto it, so making the cut's quite important. We had a par 3 over water, which was maybe a 200-yard carry over the water, and I'd said to the caddy, I said, I'm going to hit a 3 and it'll go to the back of the green. I said, if I hit the 4, if I don't quite get it, I'm not going to carry the front. He said, Phil, it's a 4-iron all day. So I look at him, okay. I'll hit the 3, I'd rather be at the back. So I start moving towards the bag. Well, he decides to pull the bag around the back of him and get between me in the bag. So I started to think, now what am I going to do? So I eventually, I started to swear to him a little bit. I said, give me the effing 3-iron and get off the effing tee. I said, eventually I hit my 3-iron to the back of the green and made the cut. But it was just the scene of the caddy trying to get in between me and the bag.
Did he caddy for you again?
Didn't last long, that one. That was the end of it that week.
Oh, he stayed for the week.
His nickname was Mad Wayne. So, which maybe you could see why now.
Final question. Any holes in one on tour?
Oh, do you know, only one. You'd love to say I've had a hole in one and you've won a BMW 840 worth £100,000, but no. I had one at the Scottish Open. I'd sort of, I think I hold a 7-iron maybe, so hold it. And I think one of the caddies, so I'm looking around, no car, no anything. Oh, okay, never mind. I think the caddy said, I think there's a bottle of champagne for a hole in one. And I go, oh, okay then, never mind. So I finish off. I'm actually having lunch in the clubhouse. And the press officer came, he said, Phil, can you come to the Laurent Perrier tent? And I'm thinking, oh, I've got to come up and get a bottle of champagne. Oh, okay. Up I go. He said, Phil, you've won a bottle of champagne for every yard of the hole. 164 yard par 3, 164 bottles of Laurent Perrier delivered to the house. The wife was pleased anyway.
I can imagine.
It was all gone now.
It's all gone now, yeah. Lovely. Thank you, Phil.
Pleasure.
Superb company. I'm going to ask some questions now that have built up. So it's quite hard just to curate them in real time, so they might be a bit random. The first one is, we talked about nerves earlier, and as you've matured and you're on the Legends Tour, playing with people you know much better than maybe when you were a younger chap. Do the nerves get easier with age?
Yeah, I think they do. I'd definitely say, I'd say I'm a much calmer person as I'm older. I don't feel, some people say your nerve goes. My experience is your confidence goes, not your nervous system. Which I can see why people lose their confidence. You have enough bad results, you duff enough chips or miss enough short putts, you have another one, and you have this memory of what's happening, and it makes you really nervous. So I'm a calmer man than I would have been as a young man. I feel a lot calmer in general. I used to drive the car like a lunatic. Now I'm not allowed to have a fast car because I'm not trustworthy. But I'm just a much calmer person than I would as a 25-year-old. You're just different. My son's 19. We would use these whoops that detects how much sleep you have, your heartbeat all through the day. And he's a different human being to me just by, we do the same thing throughout the day, and his readings are so different. It's incredible. So I think as you age, everything slows down a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a question here on fitness. So, I don't know if you took fitness seriously in say, the 1990s as a 20-something-year-old. And, how do you, I've watched a lot of footage of you whilst I've been preparing for this evening, and you still look in very good shape. Is there anything different between what you do now to what you did then?
Yeah, I've changed quite a lot. I did very little throughout my career. Something that I regret. I wish I'd done more. More mobility, and probably I wish I'd done more. I think what happened probably 2 years ago, I'd become aware, and I'm 54, I'd become aware that there's a time span left for me. And as I think I said earlier, I love what I do. I want to do this as long until the day they tell me, Phil, you can't play anymore. But I'll be going, because the next thing, I don't want to retire. I just don't fancy. I love my life. I love playing. I love traveling. I love competing. So probably 2 years ago, especially this last year anyway, I've really made a big effort where I wouldn't call it a lot of strength training. I'm not doing a lot of strengthening. So it's not about biceps and big bars, but I do a lot of mobility. From from my flexibility to my hamstrings to I do lots of squats and lunges, my twisting, things that I do on a Swiss ball, a lot of things that will help longevity. And I'm going to do the best job that I can to maintain what I've got today. I don't expect to get stronger going forward, but I got to hang on to what I've got for as long as I want, because I want to play golf. And even when I'm 80, I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be active, the kitty at the golf club, because that's what I love doing. I'll drink some coffee in the morning. I'm not doing that all day. I'll be out competing and having the fivers off the boys at the club.
Well, I think those are very wise words, and I don't think our membership will mind me saying that, all of us are not getting any younger, shall we say. So I think many of those tips will resonate quite strongly with most of them.
Yeah, right, all in the gym now, but no, at home, you don't need the gym, you just need to get a yoga or Pilates routines.
So you talked about flexibility and those sorts of things. So we've got a question here about club head speed and ball speed and those sorts of statistics that do make a player better if they get them right. So you're focusing less on those things or not?
A little bit. I think the thing that you've probably got a few options. I'm aware that I'm not I've never been a very long hitter, but I think what'll happen if as soon as I lose another 5 miles an hour, it's going to be more difficult. That equates to, I think, 12 yards, say. I don't want to be 12 yards short. I'm hitting too many long clubs into the green, because as soon as you're hitting a 6-iron into the green, it always releases. Whereas if you could hit an 8-iron into the green, it'll stop quicker. That gives you more control. So that's really the big difference. The one thing that I've started to do is, I don't do this every day, but I try and have small sessions where when I do practice on the range at certain times, I'll make sure my last 15 balls are as hard as I can hit them. So that's my kind of speed training. Guys use speed sticks. I haven't gone for that one. I've gone for my mobility, certain leg strength that I'm after, hitting hard in the net or on the range. And because I'm not sure whether I can take a lot more strengthening, but I'll do this routine, probably similar routine for another year, and then maybe she'll decide I can do a few heavier things. So my son's got a gym in the garage, so I might lift some of those big dumbbells up, or those barbells he's got in there.
And in the week or two before coming to Formby or any big tournament, is there a particular routine that you stick to?
It always varies a little bit coming in, so it depends if you played the week before or you've had a week off. I generally like to, I think the most important factor probably when you're coming into a tournament is I'm rested, and I've done all my technical work on my rest before I arrive. So when I arrive, I'm just ticking over and I'm fully fresh. I think it's very easy for tour players to over practice coming in. You get jaded, you've done too much, and you can get tired. So I think rest and on all the technical work is done before I arrive. Or if I can do that, I'm trying to do it all before I get there, because I don't want to be working on my swing on a tournament week. I'd rather it be as it is.
A good question here on the psychology of match play versus stroke play. Is there much of a difference once you're in it? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think it is very different. Very different. The obvious part of it is, do you try and play the course, or do you play the man? I tend to play the man, but the psychology of it is so different, because if they've made a birdie, you end up with you might have a 15-foot putt. You're only thinking of holding it, or say a 20-foot putt. Whereas when you stroke play, you obviously don't want to hit it past either. I think it's a totally different psychology. I think that makes the Ryder Cup quite tricky, because you're playing foursomes, four balls, and singles, which is quite unfamiliar to stroke play, and with a partner. It's quite odd to do. I find a lot more pressure if I got a partner. I don't want to let them down, and even more pressure when you've got a team as well as a partner. It's so much pressure on you. You feel like you're letting others down, which you're on your own. You can live with it.
Yeah. This one passed me by in my research for tonight, Phil, which is the 2003 Open. The question here says you played the final round with Ben Curtis. Did he go on to win it that year?
He did, yeah.
And the question was, did you get caught up in his story at any point, or did you manage to stay fully focused on your own game?
Fully focused on my own game, and the reason was so we must have started off in maybe 10th position, I'd say, ish, going into the last round. Nice lad. We had a nice chat, and he shot 6. So basically, trying to think, where did we play? We played St George's. Basically, the course goes out for 1 9 and back for another, pretty much a lot of it. So we played the front 9 downwind. So he was, in fact, the front 10. He was 6 under after 10, and I was 4 under after 10. So we've moved forward, and that was great. But now we've got to play the back 8 holes into the wind, and he didn't actually play very well. I don't know what I finished 10th, I think, in the end. I can't remember. Maybe I shot 1 under, but back 9 was really difficult. And I think he didn't look like he was playing very well. So we finished on he's birdied the last hole. We shake hands. Not at any point do I think he's going to be the Open champion, because Thomas Bjorn's leading by quite a few. He's leading by 3. Vijay Singh was there. There was a lot of players, and the back 8 was so difficult. And especially with Thomas Bjorn, I think he made a 6 on the par 3, left her in a bunker a few times. At no point did I ever think Ben Curtis was going to win the Open, which was quite incredible. So I've left the golf. I cannot believe he's just won. I bet he never had any thought that he was ever going to win, because they all just fell apart. And that can sometimes happen with a links course where you play in the back 9 into them, because it was really difficult. And I knew it was difficult, but I didn't think it was that difficult. They'd all fall apart.
Next question. You're renowned as being a great putter. Is there an important tip that's lived with you through the years in relation to putting, or a tip that you can pass on?
My 2 biggest, I don't know what I can do on the Zoom, but I'll have to try and explain the best I can. My two biggest ideas with putting that I use is, so stand over a putt. What I try and do is to have most of the power generated by my shoulders, my shoulder rock. I think too many amateurs use the hands as to create speed. So my one is I'm always trying to use my shoulders to rock, so that my hands feel quite passive then. That's probably my favorite feel. And probably the other one that I use is, if you'd imagine a basketball player trying to put a basket through a hoop. They bounce the ball on the floor, they take one look at the hoop and then throw the ball. And I try and use the same theory with the putting. So I'll put the putter behind the ball, I look at the hole. When my eyes come back to the ball, I take the putter away quite quickly, so there's no time to think. I don't do it fast. I just do it as soon as my eyes hit the ball, the putter goes away with it. So I'm putting instinctively. If your eyes stay looking at the ball too long, I find I start guiding and trying to control the putter rather than an instinctive move. That one stuck with me, and I'll never stop doing that. I find it's an instinct, like throwing an apple into a bin in the corner room. You're better off looking at it quickly and throwing it than staring at it.
Yeah.
That works.
I'll bear that one in mind. The last question, which is more of a comment or an observation, when we welcome you to Formby, is Greg Norman played the ladies' course at Formby, which is the course in the middle of the men's, and wrote to the club to say that it proves that a course doesn't need to be over 7,000 yards to be a real test. So hopefully you'll get a chance to play the ladies as well as the men's as part of the tournament when we welcome you here in July.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we're looking forward to welcoming you here, Phil. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're more or less bang on 8 o'clock. We've had an hour, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.